welcome to yet another podcast. And it's been amazing, just kind of sharing and also connecting with some amazing people that we have in our network. And I feel like the intent of our podcast has been to bring like some of these amazing people from our network who have been doing really great job, and how they have grown through the real life challenges and real life struggles to make it big in their life, and tap into their wisdom so that our young professionals and the people who are coming into the workforce, they can learn from them, and they can create this foundation which is not only benefiting them but also kind of shaping the future of our world. So I'm really looking forward to this amazing conversation with yet another person who I've known personally uh, for over, I think, about 15 or 16 years now. His name is Mr. Rakesh Rajput. And welcome, Mr. Rakesh Rajput, to this podcast. And we are looking forward to learning from you. So, a little bit about Rakesh. He he is a client executive leading a very large project with IBM, and he's an amazing human being. Every time I've tapped into his wisdom for many things, and one of the things he shared with me this amazing book. When I was starting the business, and but other than that, I've all throughout these 15, 16 years, it's been like really amazing relationship, and I've really depended on him, for many of my like advices and other things. Anyway, so don't want to take much away from the conversation, but today we want to learn from him, like who he is and what he has done, and I'm sure he has many good ideas to share with you all. So let's hear from Rakesh and see what he has to share with us. So Rakesh, welcome to the podcast, and we're looking forward to learning from you. Maybe if you can tell us about who you are and how you got to where you got to, and share some of the ideas from your life.
Yeah, thank you, Ashish, for having me here. It's a pleasure and honor. Both of us share, I think, passion to develop the youth. That's a common ground for us. And let me start by congratulating you for living your dream because I know you've been a very important part of the IBM engine at some point of time, Deloitte engine, KPMG engine, and now you're building your own engine, right? So it's always pleasure to interact with you. I am currently serving I'm a proud IBMer and currently serving life science, one of the foremost life science client with a team of almost 1,200 plus global people. And this is a client which is known for bringing breakthrough medicines, shaping the future of the industry. And we are very proud, and we do. I'm responsible for the P&L of, nine-figure book of business. And coming to here at this level, I would say has been the secret sauce has been following some specific principles which I'm very passionate about, which I'm very happy to share with your audience. The things which I would like to tell 20 years ago for myself. But I started my career in a factory. I had nothing to do with IT, computers, or anything like that. I was a shop floor supervisor in an automobile company, and I noticed that there was a software being implemented, but not the software, but the people who were implementing it fascinated me. They were coming in nicer suits and driving
Wow.
nicer cars. So that was at that point of time my motivation. I wanted to know how I want to live that life, and the rest is history. I moved from manufacturing to ERP implementation in SAP. Worked a little bit for Capgemini, and for past 18 years I have been part of IBM, and I've been very fortunate. I would say our consulting business, as you would know, has three legs: go to market, which is the engine; the delivery, which is the backbone; and the practice, right, the operations and strategy. That's the lifeblood. And I have been very fortunate in these 18 plus years to be 8 or 9 different roles, and not just visiting different countries, but living in the different. I lived in Europe, lived in Asia Pacific, lived in West Coast, lived in South in Louisiana,
Wow.
and living in New Jersey now. And so the versatility of the exposure I got because of IBM is immense, and that is what has shaped me.
Wow, that's really amazing. Yeah, like there's so many different experiences that I've tapped into from you, and leading this such a large organization and making an impact on a daily basis. And also I've heard, like, you had this organization where you were training young professionals, and you had like about 500 people you had kind of trained, and kind of touching on that topic. And plus, what are some of the principles that surpass kind of a timeline, right? And what would you like to share from your life that could like help our young professionals who are listening to it, I would say throughout the world, because YouTube is everywhere. So I'm sure people are going to listen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're referring to probably the practice I built 4 years from 2016 to 2020 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and that's our one of the client innovation center. And I started with less than 40, 50 people, and I scaled it up to 500
Wow.
when I left in 4 years. It was around enterprise application. Majority of it was bringing the youth right from the college. Majority of them it was their first job. So obviously we had a pyramid, with experienced professionals, and that was very, I would say, energizing experience personally for me before I getting into client partner role. And I think today attention is the new oil, right? People have with so much distraction, there is so much lack of attention, I would say. So I have come up with an framework or acronym to make it easier for your
Right.
audience, for the youth who can adopt the success formula which I believe in, and I call it PCR. Like you must be familiar with project change request.
Right.
That's the PCR,
Right.
but this isn't that PCR.
Okay.
So each of them have four, I would say, pillars. The first one is the P. Basically, we get this job as a consultant for problem solving. That's the
Mhm.
topmost P. And typically, every problem is underneath there is a second P, which is the people or the partners, and the third P, which is the processes.
Mhm.
And underneath of all that is principles, right?
Right.
So as a consultant, I think we have to see this in the framework of these four P's. Where is the issue? If the issue is at principal level, it's a big problem. If
Mhm.
it is the process level, which can be improved, if it's issue is at the people and partner level, it can be further improved. But that's the lens, and it stuck with me. That was my day one orientation back in my manufacturing company about these
Mhm.
four P's, and I kind of use it till today.
Mhm.
And transitioning from P to C is, again, as a consultant, right? One of the most immediate attributes you see is the confidence. That's the first
Mm.
C, right? And that is like an ingredient you definitely need to be successful in consulting industry.
Right.
And what I call, again, the four C's, the topmost is confidence, but the confidence comes by the capabilities you have. That's
Right.
the second C,
Right.
right?
Right.
Capability is the skill, right?
Got it.
It's a skill economy. And in order to build the capabilities, right, you have to do, like, you have to be action biased,
Mhm.
and you have to kind of practice the skills. So that builds the capability, and
Right.
because of your capability, you're confident, right? You're able
Right.
to give the right advice, right guidance to the client, and are
Mm.
able to take the right action, create value for them and their customer. But the capability is not built automatically, right?
Right.
The next C, which I call, is the commitment.
Mhm.
So every single day, I think before you sleep, you need to ask this question: what was I committed to
Right.
today? Because whatever you are committed to is what is building your capability,
True.
right? So that's the third C.
Mhm.
And commitment in anything, being a man you would know better, is
Okay.
not easy. you know
Easy.
so what you're committed to is very, very important and essential. But even more important than that, underlining the fourth C, is the courage.
Right.
Do you have courage to commit to certain things? Do
Mhm.
you have courage to build the capability? Do you have courage to be confident
Right.
in the complex situation? So those are my four C's. And the last one, I'll go quick, is the R, PCR, like I said. So first one, I call it rich, reach, reflect,
Mhm.
and re-innovate. So rich means how rich you are in your craft.
Mhm.
When we came to industry, it used to be a T-shaped learning. You need to know certain software aspect, and you need to be like a CO consultant,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
Or MM consultant, right?
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
T-shape.
Mhm.
Not sufficient anymore.
Uh-huh.
Now we are moved to a pie shape, which
Mhm.
means you need to be expert not in one thing, but at least two things. You need to be a I don't know, let's say manufacturing consultant, but life science in industry, CPG
got it.
industry,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you have to have the domain knowledge, right?
Right, right.
So so you have to be rich and unique in whatever you're doing. Riches are in the niches, which we know.
Right.
And the second R is reach. How many people know you know the best, right?
Yeah.
I think more often than not, especially the younger people, I feel
Mm.
are not very forthcoming in marketing themselves.
Right.
And in consulting, you have to market yourself
True.
to the consult to not only the client, but
Mm.
to your peer group, to your seniors, and everybody. They need to know that you are the best,
True.
right? And then coming down to the third R is basically reflect.
Yeah.
How much time we take to reflect where the industry is going,
True.
where the craft is going. I
Yeah.
think we'll come to the AI part, I believe, and you can see it is disrupting everything, and in my mind, it's making everything super exciting.
True.
And the last one is to reinvent. The innovation alone is not enough.
Nice.
You have to reinvent yourself,
Mm.
and that has been my formula. I personally reinvented myself many times.
Mm.
When I was in manufacturing, when I was in supply chain delivering a project, when I have been in a go to market role,
Mm.
solutioning, and now serving this life sciences client. So I have constantly trying to reinvent myself and keeping myself relevant. I don't want to be an expert of a time which does not exist anymore.
Wow. So definitely, like, there's tons of wisdom packed over there, and there's so many things, now, one thing that I was speaking to Rakesh just before the call, before this recording, right? So I asked him, what is the main thing you want to share? And he said, it's a doers economy, right? Like, if we take action and we do things, then we're going to be successful. There's no excuse in today's economy that, hey, I didn't go to this college, and definitely stealing from Rakesh's ideas there, right? I think one of the things also, like what he was sharing already, and that's I see on a day-to-day basis. We talk about it on our calls about networking, about marketing, about putting your best foot forward. But ultimately, I think, like Rakesh is sharing, it boils down to what are we doing on a daily basis to build that capability? Because if we have the capability, we are going to have the confidence. So definitely great encouragement there to guys. Let's go, roll up our sleeves, get things done. We're all going to grow that way and going to learn from that. Now, Rakesh, we're going to come to the next section, which is basically we want to understand there's AI all over the place, and there's so much for us to learn, and there's so many ways we can contribute. So we want to hear from you for our young professionals and even people who are already in their careers and in set ways of doing things. How do you think that's shaping up, and what are you seeing in the marketplace as a leader and as a professional? Like, what can people do differently over here?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give a couple of flavors to it. Number one, I believe that AI is doing three things. Okay, the first one, it is eliminating, lower. It's making basically the easier task go away from human hand to machine, which
Right,
I think is a very exciting thing.
right,
Okay, the second thing it is doing, it is making more complex things to easier. Okay, so easiers are going 100% to machine. Complex is becoming easier with combination of the AI and the human skills. And then the last thing, which is the most exciting part, is making impossible possible
mm-hmm.
because of AI. There were
Mm-hmm.
things which were not in the realm of possibility of human beings,
Right,
but now all those things are possible because of this new tool coming up. And I'll give you an example in the context of life sciences. So any guess how much time it takes for a drug discovery, like a drug to come in the market? Rough idea.
my first guess would be 5 to 6 years.
Yeah. So I wish it could be 5 to 6 years.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Average is 12 plus years.
Wow.
Okay. I mean the 7 step process, and with even the just the clinical trial 1, 2, and 3 is
Mm-hmm.
almost 7 years,
Mm-hmm.
1.5, 2.5, and 3.5 years.
Wow.
Okay. But with AI, you could be right. It could be
Uh-huh.
5 to 6 years. So it's almost cutting that time to half, right?
Wow.
And there are more failure. I mean, that from 10,000 compounds is just, there's a ratio is one, right? There's more.
Yeah.
So all that, I would say, the waste, which is not yielding the result, can be now avoided, and it can be, it can move fast forward. And we have seen, being in IT, and I have the privilege of being on the front end and front seat of this AI evolution being part of IBM, right? We
Right.
brought the Watson in 2011, part of Jeopardy, and we all have seen bits and pieces, different things like automation, etc. Right? And it runs, and the underlying principle again is SPAR, SPAR, and it's basically S stands for sensing, P stands for plan, A stands for acting, and R stands for reflecting.
Mm-hmm.
What AI is doing, this R part, SPA, the SPA already existed, when we were doing the automation. We would, but you would give a command, there's a predefined, reactions, and it will act based on that. If any of the steps are missing, it wouldn't work, right? Now, because of AI, the reflection part, right, is getting this intelligence, which
Mm.
is changing the game. And it's extremely exciting. um, I actually feel jealous and envious to the upcoming generation, because we had to do a lot of monotonous, boring tasks which they wouldn't have to do. In any job, personally, I feel there are 2 3 different phases whenever I'm working. The phases which irritate me, the phases which basically puts me in a state of flow, which means if I'm working, i I lose this track of time. Okay, that's what I call state of flow, right?
Right, right.
In the job, there has been too many phases which irritate me,
Uh,
and I think what AI is going to do is taking all that out. So
wow.
this new generation can be in the state of flow.
True.
It really depends what you want to do, what you
Mm-hmm.
like, what your passion is. And it's phenomenal where the world is going. And and it's amazing tool which they can leverage to their huge advantage.
Right. No, I think that's a very, very relevant point. And it's always like, long back when I was in school, I read this book called Who Moved My Cheese. And, like AI is kind of bringing about a big change. But in any given circumstance, whatever the changes are, we got to adapt to that, and then we got to respond to that and make it in a way, got like, friends with AI, like in a way, right? To be able to use the new technologies and be able to solve the problems that are ahead of us. Truly said, Rakesh. It's a very exciting time, and how we use AI to solve the problems. And really, I think like there's a ethical use of AI to be able to kind of think from the angle of humanity and make sure that we are using it in the right way. Definitely speeding up the things and making things happen. So definitely exciting times ahead. So one last thing we wanted to ask you, Rakesh, before we let you go is what are your top 2 to 3 things that you want to leave as part of this podcast? I'm sure we're going to get more time to talk to you as well. But as part of this particular episode, what would you like to share with the listeners who are like, intently watching this? What would your piece of advice be?
Yeah, absolutely. I will re-emphasize what you kind of touched upon a little bit earlier. Obviously, follow the PCR framework for what it's worth for you. Secondly, like I was mentioning earlier before the podcast, that I firmly believe it's a no excuse economy. Okay,
Right.
AI has really leveled the playing field.
Hmm.
It's, in my mind, it's a doers economy.
Right.
So you have to be action biased. You have to do the experiments. You have to build those capabilities in yourself. You have to be in a niche area. You have to find your flow, right? You need
Hmm.
to find your flow, what really excites you, and whatever excites you, if that can be monetized, right,
Uh-huh.
that's the best thing.
Hmm.
And now it is possible, right? So extremely exciting time ahead if you follow the right principles, like what Ashish was saying, being ethical as an example. um, you know with all this information, you know being out there, in my mind, what is the most important skill would be needed in the
Hmm.
industry is the judgment. You'll
True.
have the data point, you'll have everything, right? But the AI is not going to take judgment. You have to make the judgment. And the more, judgments you take in the low risk environment, right, the more wisdom you're going to develop.
True.
And when you start making right judgment, people are gonna the clients are gonna be dependent on you, your
Hmm.
colleagues are gonna be dependent on you. But
True.
judgment is not, nobody can teach you. I
Yeah,
cannot
yeah,
teach
yeah,
you.
yeah.
So again, it's a matter of being action biased, doing it again and again, and building this wisdom by failing fast, experimenting, and creating immense value in the market, which nobody other than you can create.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I think every person is unique and they can connect the dots differently. And to Rakesh's point, what value we can add, and we can add that value. I think what I got out of it, and there's always, I talk to Rakesh, there's always so much I can learn from him. And I think in terms of like building our capabilities and making sure we're putting the right effort into our own personal careers, and then giving back to, like, solving these problems. Ultimately, what I have seen as part of the projects that I'm part of, the client projects, and also part of like KATBOTZ, what I've seen is, like, people who are getting things done on the projects, and also in terms of our organizations. And personally, like, it benefits you if you're learning and doing, because you're going to grow that way also, right? So I think a very, very information packed, wisdom packed, discussion with you, Rakesh. We really appreciate you being here with us and kind of, giving your time. And for everyone who's listening, I'm sure there are going to be many more interesting conversation, but please stay tuned and continue to, provide your feedback. If you have any interesting suggestions, we love to welcome those. So Rakesh, thank you so much for being here, and we look forward to the future sessions, and also all the best in whatever you're doing. Please continue to spread the good wisdom.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to connect again and again and share the best I can.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.